Hello, welcome to a Knitting Pipeline Extra. I believe I have down this is 23, but I actually think it might be 24. Anyway, we're so glad you're here. And I have a special guest with me today. This is my sister, Gayle. She's here from the St. Louis area, and we are having a ball. And I am so excited to have her because we're having a big quilting retreat of our own here this weekend. We have been to our two of our local quilt shops, and we're going to a quilt show tomorrow. But first we have some knitting to talk about. And I guess I should say too that you can find me on Instagram and on YouTube as Knitting Pipeline. I am Prairie Piper on Ravelry, and you'll just be just me. Yeah, she's just her. Yeah. But if you have questions for my sister, you can put them in the comments below. And I would like to say thank you so much to everyone who commented on previous videos and asked questions. I did do an episode last week on my sewing machine and my irons because two or three people asked about my sewing machine, what kind I had. And so I did that. It's about a 20-minute video on those. But I'm not going to answer questions today that were in the comments because we have so much to talk about already. We have notes here, and we'll be lucky if we get through everything in an hour. So those questions that you asked, they will be answered in a subsequent episode. And today we are going to talk about, first we're going to do knitting, and she's not a knitter, but she appreciates knitting. She's the recipient of knitted things. So yeah, well, and the knitting is fairly short today. And then we'll go into a little bit of sewn needle, or sewn, not needle felted, but felted sewn animals. And then we will go to quilting, and we have a whole lot of quilts because I asked her to bring hers, and we have some exciting things to show you there. So let's talk about knitting. Now, these items have all been on the audio. If you listen to my audio podcast, Knitting Pipeline, you've heard me talk about these. These are the Galiano socks, which is a pattern by Tracie Millar of the Grocery Girls podcast. These were so fun to knit. They got my sock knitting enthusiasm back. They have a cable down the front and then little panels of lace on the side with a traditional heel flap and gusset, and I just really enjoyed knitting them. The yarn is Mount Rutsen Studio from upstate New York. Her name is Pat. She does beautiful, beautiful yarn. In the colorway, I cannot remember, but it's Mount Rutsen Studio. And then those sock blockers are from somebody will probably ask if I don't say, Perfectly Catchy Designs. She's in Galesburg, Illinois, and she's usually at Stitches Midwest and other local fairs. And then the most recent audio episode, I talked about the Odette hoodie. My daughter-in-law asked for matching hoodies for the granddaughters, and I chose this pattern by Carrie Bostick Hoge. The pattern is a cardigan, but I knit them as requested as a pullover, and this is the 18-month size. And then there's the hood. The hood looks really big, but heads are big, so since they live far away, I can't really, I can't try these on them, but they'll be fine. I like the little detail on the cuff here, garter ridges, and then the garter ridges that are in the yoke and the hood. I'm trying to decide whether I should put a tassel or a pom-pom. I'm kind of leaning towards a tassel, and whatever I put on the point here, I would just tie it in and ask my daughter-in-law if she wants me to leave it there, then I'd put it in more securely, but I wouldn't attach it permanently until I sort of get the go-ahead from her. So this is the 18-month size, and then I think the sizes jumped from 2 years to 4 years or something. So I did the 4-year size because the older granddaughter is 3. So she'll be 3.5 by the time it's cool enough in North Carolina to wear this. But I think they're adorable, don't you, Gayle?
Yeah, I do. I like it.
Yeah. Little quilting thread. If you're a quilter, you always are pulling little threads off of
everything.
You know what we're talking about here. And the yarn is Quince Co. Lark, which is a worsted weight, and this is the Pomegranate colorway, which is a beautiful colorway. And then I thought that a hat was, so I did the leaf top baby hat by Susan B. Anderson out of the book Kindred Knits. And this is also same yarn. It's the Lark. And then I used Barrett Wool Co. for the little stem. Susan B. Anderson is the designer, and she did the book in collaboration with Quince Co. And then these adorable little leaves. This I did the large size. I think it's a little large for the 18-month-old, or she's only a year, and it's I think 18-month size. So I will knit a smaller one, and then she can just grow into this one. And I might do pink leaves on the top of that one just for something different. So yeah, I'll be taking those to North Carolina when I see them in September. Something going on back there?
No.
We don't have any pets, so a lot of the videos they have dogs, and we don't. So it's just us. We got rid of the... Okay, let me check my notes, Gayle, and see. Okay, I'm already done with knitting, and we're only not even 5 minutes in. So the rest of it we'll do sewing. Let's get out our felted animals. So you go get yours and I'll get mine. So Angie is responsible for getting us.
We made the same ones, only I enlarged mine.
Yes, hers are larger. So, whoops, you might need to take that off because it keeps clanging into the table. You look good with it, but just put it down. Yeah, that kind of thing can be magnified. Sometimes people listen with headphones. So, okay, Angie got me into sewing little felted things and felted wool. And then Gayle got into it. Gayle found this at JoAnn Fabric. It's Felt Friends, Woodland Critters is the name of it. It's like a kit or gift box. It's kind of cool. It has a magnetic flap. You open it up, and there's the booklet, instruction booklet in there, and then the patterns. And then there's some felt. There's felt for, they say, but it's not wool felt. It's just kind of a cheap polyester felt. And there is thread and a little fiber fill in there. But we didn't use any of those materials because we like wool felt the best. And so anyway, Gayle started making these. There are 20, I think, altogether.
Yeah.
And she made them all. So, of course, I had to do the same thing. But, yeah, so we have not seen one. I've seen hers, but it's been a long time. She has not seen mine yet. So we're going to here kind of compare them. And I will take some close-up shots. And so you won't be seeing them from afar. But yours are
mine are quite...
They're bigger.
Which one do you have? The two?
Oh, well, now let's start. I'll dump mine out here. Okay. Pull one out, and then I'll find...
The beaver.
The beaver. I thought the beaver was really cute. That's the bear. Where's my beaver? Oh, yeah. There's my beaver. Let's put our beavers up.
See how much larger mine is?
Yeah. Yeah. So. You enlarged the thing. I just did it the size, I think. I went slightly on the outside. So actually, if you followed the pattern exactly, I think they would be a little bit smaller. I think I would maybe make mine bigger, although these are cute. They're cute that size. So there's a little embroidery on each one. Usually, like the beaver has some embroidery on his tummy to make it look like fur. My beaver looks a little more like a walrus because I think that in satin stitch and embroidery is hard, I think.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, the distance between a beaver tooth and a walrus tusk is not that big on this thing, and mine just doesn't look real good. But I'm kind of attached to him, and don't you like that? Can you see it? It's so dark in here. It's not as dark for you, but that's because, I don't know, it's very, very dark in here, but it's sort of a pattern. So I didn't do the embroidery on there because I thought the wool did that. So the funniest one, I think my favorite.
I love your butterfly.
Here's
with the
my
beads.
butterfly turned out. No, I didn't beads. Those are French knots.
Oh.
Yeah. Put our butterflies up. Oops. Is that your butterfly?
Yeah. It's got the face I embroidered.
Oh, okay. So our little butterfly. I have a face on mine too. It's just kind of faint.
Yeah.
And I'd say I love the hedgehog. Where's your hedgehog? There's hedgehog. Is that the right? Yeah. These are, did you do both sides of yours?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not on all of them. A few I did. But we'll take some close-up photos and show you. But the funniest one
Which one?
The deer.
Oh,
You threw it away.
I threw it away.
She said, don't do the deer.
Looked like a dog.
She said, it's terrible. And I had seen her deer, and I said, well, I don't know. So when she'd already completed all of hers, and we were talking on the phone, and I said, well, I got started on it. And she said, did you do the deer? And I said, yes, I had to do the deer. So here's my deer. It does not look much like a deer. But somebody thought it looked like a deer, or it wouldn't be in the book. And mine looks pretty much like the one in the book, I think.
It does.
And these animals are not to scale. Like, for example, the bee is almost as big as the frog, and you wouldn't expect that. I love the snail.
Oh, yeah.
There's a snail. Where's yours? Yeah. Now, you might remember that I knit the Gramps cardigan for my granddaughter, and I made little felted animals put in the pockets. They were not from this book. They were from a different book. Oh, and there's also a pine cone and a mushroom. The mushroom's really cute. There's pine cone, mushroom. So there's some inanimate objects. I did those last. I actually did everything in the order.
Oh, did you?
That was in the book, yeah. Now, the other thing I did with this is I made a kit for every animal because I sewed one or two, and I thought, I don't really feel like continuing this right now, but I know if I don't get myself to a certain point, it'll be hard to pick it up again. So I took the little Ziploc snack pack bags, and I cut out everything and then labeled it and put each kit in a little Ziploc. And so then when I decided just a couple weeks ago I was just going to barrel through and get these done, it was really simple. They were already ready to sew. So yeah, they were fun. There's an acorn too. They all have little faces on them. And you said yours have gotten a really good reception.
Yes.
You have them in a
wooden bowl that my dad made.
Yeah, our dad made. I have mine in a little basket. So I'm going to keep these here at the house for when the granddaughters come. But I might put them out just for people to see. And I had an idea, Gayle. You might have to take those bracelets off too.
Oh gosh.
We won't have you disrobe actually, but I had the idea, which I haven't told you. We didn't look at these before, and I didn't tell her about this, but I had the idea. This book, as everybody who's watched the show knows, I really like it. I was trying to think of a little house I could make to put the animals in, and I thought maybe this crayon caddy, if you got woodland sort of fabric, but I looked at the measurements, and I think it's a little small. Some of them, I mean, a good deal of them would fit. Yours would not. They're too big. Bigger. But you could make a little drawstring bag or something out of some woodland kind of fabric just to keep them in, too, when you don't have them out on display. But I thought that would be a cute, and you could have Woodland Friends or whatever on the label. And then that little cap on it. But I don't know. I don't like making that kind of thing, to tell you the truth. It's not my favorite. Okay, so we're through with knitting and felt animals. But before we go on, I'm going to show, I already talked to you about this, but I ordered some embroidery thread, and I used it. I started using it on these felt animals, so I'm going to talk about it now. It did not come in this box. This is one of those magnetic closure boxes, and that's from JoAnn Fabric, too. But I got Presencia. It's spelled P-R-E-N, no, I have to look. P-R-E-S-E-N-I-A, C-I-A. So I got a collection of neutral colors on Craftsy, and it was in a set, and they were just in a plastic bag, but I already had this box. And so it has silver, gray, black. Can you guys see them? Oops. Anyway, I really like this embroidery thread. It's my favorite so far, and I'm going to try to get more colors of it. It just seems like the right weight, and it has a little bit of a gloss to it. I don't know if you can see there. So for neutral colors, I'm pretty well set. It's Presencia America, a colonial needle company. So if you want to order from Craftsy, this was a set, and it was $12 or something, but they had a big sale, but I don't think it's much more than that, even under regular price, but you can go to my blog, which is knittingpipeline.com, and we will have show notes there. And you can click in the sidebar and it will take you to Craftsy, and you just plug in thread or whatever and it would come up. I thought these neutral colors would be useful for a long time. Yeah, and those spools have a lot on them. So that is Presencia thread, which I did use on my little animals there. Okay, quilting. I don't have that much. Should I go first? Because you're going to be...
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but you're the guest.
Oh.
Oh, let's talk a little bit about... Yesterday we went to the Quilt Corner in Morton, which is one of my local quilt shops. I hadn't been there in a while. And then we went to the Peddler's Way Quilt Company. And in the last episode I told you that they were one of the top 10 shops. And they are featured in the magazine, which I didn't mark the place. Actually, I hardly looked at it yet. So anyway, I can't find it off the bat. I should have tabbed that. But we were there yesterday, and of course I had to buy the magazine. And so it's Quilt Sampler. This is by Better Homes and Gardens, and Peddler's Way Quilt Company, Washington, Illinois is one of the top 10 shops. So I'm so proud of them. And aren't they helpful there?
Oh gosh, yeah.
So friendly. Both of the shops are great, and they're very, very different. If you like a lot of Civil War and reproduction and flannel, the Morton shop, Quilt Corner, has a lot of those. The Washington Peddler's Way Quilt Company sort of specializes in more modern fabrics. They have a lot of machine embroidery classes. They do have a lot of classes overall, and batiks. They have a huge batik selection. So yeah. Oh look, there's a wool. Mm-hmm. We bought a wool kit yesterday, wool embroidery kit yesterday at Quilt Corner too. So yeah, we've got some projects lined up. So okay, well I'll just get mine out of the way because then we can talk as long as we want about yours. Last time I showed you I was making a baby quilt. It's Modern Color Block Quilt out of this book, which is Sweetly Stitched Handmades by Amy Sinibaldi, which I just already showed once. I finished that and I quilted it. Did my own quilting on it. It's a baby quilt. And it's just so cute. I used the Moda watercolor charm pack for the solids. We'll get some close-up photos and I'll pop them in if I can. And then I used a charm pack that was my very first charm pack from a long time ago, for the one print in each block. And then I got the Moda watercolor yardage for the border. The binding is a pink and white stripe that is printed on the bias. That was something we found yesterday for what you bought for your quilts. So the way I quilted this, on these panels, these rows, I did meandering free motion. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. So across here I did meandering, and then I did straight line. I did 1/4 inch from the seams, and then I did straight line quilting on the border. And I really like the combination of these. And the backing fabric I found at Peddler's Way Quilt Company in the sale room. If your local shop or a shop that you visit have a sale room, it's a great place to get backing fabric, because I found this and I liked it so much I went back when we went yesterday and I bought the rest of the bolt, because I just think it's a fabric that I would use quite often. It has blues, pinks, and red and yellow in it, so it goes with a lot of things. And it was $6 a yard, something like that. So you can find some nice fabrics in the sale room, because the backing is the backing, right? Let's see, what else? Is there anything else to say about this? I did have a little bit of an issue, when I was doing the straight line quilting, and if someone has a tip or can help me out on that. So when I was doing that and I came to where it had already been stitched, the fabric kept there was more and more excess. And I just had to make kind of a little pleat down here. And it's in two places where I was stitching towards that had already been stitched. So I was coming this direction, and it just kept adding more excess. When you're doing meandering, it's pretty easy to ease that in, but there was no place to ease it in. So It's not
Looks
over there. It's only
Oh,
it's
I was
only
gonna
in
say.
2 places, like
Oh,
here
yeah.
and then over on this opposite corner. I don't know where this quilt is going yet. I have a few ideas, but it may stay with me for a while too, so I can just look at it and enjoy it. So that is from that book. And then the one other thing I wanted to show you is, because Gayle, I haven't shown you this yet either. Oops, I'm kind of noisy here. I bought this layer cake. Oh, it's technically not a layer cake. Layer cake is a Moda trademark name, I think, but it's 10-inch square pack. I don't know what they call them. This is a Craftsy in-house brand called Lily and Loom, and they have another one called Boundless. I think they're the same, but feel that. I wouldn't know that this was, I mean, I think it's a very good quality, and if you flip through it, if someone showed me this, I wouldn't know that it was an in-house brand, and I think it was only, like, it was on sale. Well, everything's always on sale, but I think it was only like $12, $15. Yeah, it was pretty. Because it was on, they had kind of like a Black Friday sale, but I couldn't resist it because it's like 1930s print type stuff, and that's sort of my thing. And then once in a while, if you order from Craftsy, they send you a little freebie, and this was my freebie. It's a charm pack that, look at this, it looks like a holiday. Yeah. There's greens. They look like solids. They read like solids from a distance, but when you get close, you see that there is a print on there, like a tonal, and there's greens and neutrals and reds. So I might make a table runner or something out of that. Okay, I better clear some things off this table so you have some room. I'll just pile it over here. One of the things with video podcasting is that you get all this stuff out and eventually you have to put it all away. So afterwards we'll have a little bit of a job here for us to do, but I don't have so much. You have a few things. Okay. So why don't you get the first things? Yeah, the first things. Yeah. So tell your story a little bit about quilting. Okay. That'll kind of work in with that.
I didn't think I could do it, but she convinced me that I could. So I bought a really cheap sewing machine and realized I couldn't sew a straight line. So I practiced on pillowcases. This is a toddler size for my grandkids, and I did like this is a birthday one for my granddaughter, and I did Christmas ones.
Where did you get the pattern for that?
It's any YouTube. They're called burrito pillowcases.
What?
Burrito,
like
the Mexican food burrito.
Oh, okay.
And it has like 3 seams to it, but you can see it has like a little. They're really easy to do, but
it has a little. What would you call that?
Like you will maybe see it better on this one.
I wanted to say flange or something. Yeah. I think. Yeah. There we go.
So that's what I practiced on.
And when you told me you'd made.
I made 9.
I
made some king size.
I said, I think you could move on to something.
Yeah, I'm ready to go on.
And to be fair, we did sew quite a lot when we were younger. You took some.
Well, I took home ec class in high school, but I hadn't sewn since then. So
right.
I was really a beginner.
Yeah, if you're thinking of getting into quilting, I think that these pillowcases, if you've not sewn on a sewing machine, you just got one, and that would be a really good thing to do. And I think it's, in one of the quilting magazine that I get, they have a charity that you can make these pillowcases that go to foster children or refugees or something too. Okay,
then I think the next one I did is a zigzag table runner, and this is one charm pack, and I did it. It was a Missouri Star tutorial. Mm-hmm. And I would just go watch a little tutorial and go sew it, and then go back, watch a little bit more, and then do the next row. And so
the fabric is Kansas
Troubles. Yeah,
one of the Kansas Troubles
from Missouri Star.
And it's a sort of a prairie reproduction type print.
Right.
So when did all this start? That we forgot.
It started like 14 months ago. I started.
Yeah.
Quilting.
So. Yeah, she's done a lot.
But I kind of know my limits. I don't do the things that she does yet. But
you do. I don't do really complicated things either.
Well, they look good. This is my second thing I did. It was a table runner, and this was from Paula's. She has a demonstration was on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's called, well, I've linked it in the show notes. It's called Disappearing 9-Patch Vlog, VLOG.
Yeah. So this was easy also. It doesn't look it, I don't think.
No, it looks
but
more
it is
complicated
easy for a
than it
beginner.
is. And it's one charm pack.
Yeah.
So a charm pack is, they're 5-inch squares, and you get 40-ish, 42 squares in a packet.
Right.
And there's usually some duplicates. I like the backing you chose
Right.
for that.
Yeah.
Okay. We have labels too. Gayle has some really cute labels that she gets from the same. We get them from Mountain Street Arts. And
That's Etsy, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have them for my grandmother named Mia, and then I have them just with Gayle on them for ones I do.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
What's next in the
Okay,
lineup?
let's do this
I'm going to
one.
run out of space. We have quite a few quilts. You can see she's been busy in these 14 months. This is my favorite. This is the first big quilt you did,
Yeah,
right?
I gave this one to my mother, but I borrowed it to bring it. And the name of it is Floating Squares, but it was a class I took. We just learned to make one block. But when you search floating squares, you'll get a million different patterns. So I really can't tell you if you want to make this one. You can make something similar, but I can't tell you exactly. And I bought all the border and the regular fabrics, and then the instructor gave me all her little scraps because I haven't been quilting long enough to have those scraps, so she gave me
This
an
also
assortment.
has what's called a scrappy binding. So the binding fabric is pieced together, which is really fun, especially with so many neutrals in this. I love the way that you have the neutrals and then those pops of color in there. This is one of my favorite quilts of all time, I think. I love this quilt. Yeah, and it's your first one.
That was probably about my third.
Oh, okay. Well, it's one of the early ones.
Yeah.
And the backing is plain. The quilting, you can see better on the backing here. I think. I don't know if they can see it there, but you had this quilted out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not as much into the hand quilting as she is.
Well, I don't really hand quilt my finishing, but
You do.
Well, I do on the machine. I don't hand
Right.
quilt, really.
Now this one, did you write down the name of this one?
I think so. Wait a minute, I have to turn my page over.
This was a collection of fabrics. It was called like an adventure from one of my local.
Is that Stars and Stripes?
No.
I
It's
don't.
similar to Jenny's keyhole quilt.
It is, but I don't have that one.
Okay,
down.
I can tell you.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. So this is
This is a nice
This
size.
This was also easy.
Now this one looks easy to me.
Yes.
Like it would.
And it was.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a whole lot of piecing in it,
No.
but there's nothing wrong with easy. One of my favorite things are 4 patches and 9 patches. You don't have to be complicated and do medallions and things like that.
Right.
So.
And then this is a Christmas quilt, a 1930s reproduction. So is it?
So cute.
Yeah.
We'll try to get some better photos to insert because I know you guys can't see up close that well. We can bring it a little towards the
And then
camera.
the backing is the little candy canes.
Yeah. Is this Yellow Brick Road?
Yes.
Okay.
That is a very easy pattern, the Yellow Brick Road, that when I was starting.
By Atkinson Designs.
Yes, and I did a lot, well, I think I did maybe 4 of this pattern until I was comfortable branching out to, and I'll show you the hardest thing I've ever done.
Has candy cane print on the back, and there's, let's see, there's snowmen, lots of snowmen, little Scotty dogs. It's just the cutest little motifs on here, 1930s.
Yeah, jingle bells.
Yeah. And let's talk about batting a little bit because we both have pretty similar feelings about it. We like a thinner batting on our quilts because then when you wrap up in one, it kind of molds to your body a little bit more. So yesterday you bought batting at Quilt Corner, and they sell it by the yard, and it's 90 inches wide.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just buy the yardage that you need, and you can feel it and see. And the Quilter's Dream, you got the Quilter's Dream Did you get the 80/20?
I don't know what it was.
I think you got the 100% cotton. They're very similar. But one of them was a little thinner, and that was the one she selected for the 2 quilts that are coming up here. So we like the thinner batting and the cotton blends.
Right.
Or cotton, 100% cotton or cotton blend with 80/20.
Well, here's another Yellow Brick Road.
Oh, okay.
This is a baby quilt.
Yeah, the Yellow Brick Road, is a really good beginning pattern, and I think it looks more complicated than it is. If
and
you-
it's Darling Little Dickens. This is the
Oh,
little
so
walruses. I got this fabric in Holland, Michigan, but I've seen this fabric. You can get it anywhere.
Yeah, you can get it. That's so we've learned that quilting collection fabrics, I mean, they rotate quite frequently. I read every 3 to 4 months they come out with new collections, so you kind of have to get what you like right away. I love this one coming up. Oh, I love these colors. Is this the hourglass one?
Yes. And
This is super easy hourglass from Missouri Star Quilt Company. It's in Block Magazine. We just can hold up the half like this.
Right.
I love indigo blue and tan together. This feels
is the baking. It feels lighter.
It feels lighter, but it also feels really soft.
Mm-hmm.
The quilting design on this is kind of a fan, like a fan shape, and then like this looks like a fan and then swirls. It's a beautiful. There you can see some of the prints in there, and then the back. These are all throw or throw size, basically. What is your favorite size for a lap or a throw?
I like them. Well, I should say my husband likes them. Probably 65 to 70 long, and then width like maybe 65 is his favorite. He likes to have it up around his neck and to cover his feet. And he's not very tall.
But sometimes you do see throw patterns that are smaller. So that's where you can usually add on
A border.
Or a row, top or bottom.
Which I do.
Yeah, which you do a lot. So
most of it.
Yeah, you can see that this is what I meant by kind of a fan, but then it comes into a swirl, the quilting pattern on it.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Should we show the...
We're going through these faster than I thought, but we still have your notebooks and other things to talk about.
Should we show the I Spy quilts?
Yes, absolutely. Tell them what that is.
Okay, so the I Spy quilts are for my, I made for my grandkids. And I didn't want duplicates of anything. So there's 126 different I Spy things. This is not backed yet. This one is my second one. The reason being, when I did the half square triangles, it makes 2. And since I didn't want duplicates, I had enough to make a second one. So I've made second ones, and I'm going to actually trade them for it because I found out they like the really soft minky fabric for the backing. So we bought that yesterday when I have this quilted, to have the cushy minky fabric, and then I'm going to see if they want to trade, and then I'll keep the other ones in my house because the other ones just have cotton batting.
So I Spy with my little eye, paws, like cat paws or dog paws, frogs, pizza, cars, baseball, whales,
Santa
pigs,
Claus, buttons,
toucans,
musical notes,
turtle,
fox.
I mean, there's
everything.
You can keep busy for a long time.
But it was fun getting fabric for this because you didn't have to buy much, and so the search for the fabric was fun.
Let's hold it up so they can see it better. I mean, what grandchild wouldn't love getting something like this? Let's try to hold it level.
Yeah.
Put your side down. Well, there we go.
Yeah. And this is for my grandson, one of my grandsons. And then I guess that's where the other one will go, to my other grandson.
Okay.
He's just an infant. He's just 6 weeks old. So.
Yeah, she has 2 and 2.
Yeah.
You're 2 for 2. I'm 2 for 0. But those 2 are enough. Yeah. Okay. So that's the I Spy boy, and you can probably tell this is I Spy for the girl, and she is a girly girl. She is totally girl. can see some of those.
Yeah, just an assortment.
So these half square triangles, by the time you make one of these, you would be getting pretty good at half square triangles.
Yes.
Because you've made a
This
good
is
number.
another one of my beginning things. And then when I made these second ones, it went so fast because...
But I see owls and monkeys and flamingos, whales, a lot of more animals I see. Mermaid, little 1930s in there, fox.
Rain boots, feathers.
Flip-flops.
Yeah. Little girls on jump ropes.
Ice cream at Eiffel Tower, hippos, dogs. There's
zebras, everything.
It's fantastic, really. Yeah. So fun. I mean, what kid wouldn't love that?
Yeah.
So these two, we bought the backing and batting for them yesterday at Quilt Corner. They do carry the minky type fabric, the cuddle fabric. I don't know. I think minky's a brand name, but you know what we mean by that. Really plush,
not cotton at all.
Yeah. So we got those yesterday, and we got really cute backing
and binding. Really
and binding. Yeah, we found stripy binding for the boy one in red. The border's going to be blue. We should have brought that up, but the border's going to be blue, and then the red striping goes on the diagonal, so you don't have to cut a bias strip, but you get bias look to it.
Right.
And then the girl, we got a pink border, and what was the binding? Oh, it's like a print polka dot kind of oval polka dot,
and kind of a bright pink.
Yeah,
border.
Very bright border, almost the color of this bright pink in the flamingo here.
And the reason I'm going to add a border, I didn't on the first one, and they really shrunk a lot. So I decided to put a little border on this one just in case. But I'm a little worried about the minky because it's not cotton. So when I wash it, I'm not sure how that's going to go.
You can ask your finisher about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are just so cute and fun, really fun to make. The shrinkage, I think, is about 10%, as I mentioned in the last episode, because I measured that and then measured it afterwards, and it's, I think, roughly 10%. If you don't pre-wash your fabrics, which you should not if you're using pre-cuts, you can't really wash them.
So this is the hardest one I've done. This was my last one, and I really got out of my comfort zone with this one.
This one is, well, it's good. You keep stepping up.
Yeah. So it's called Stars and Strips, and it's another Atkinson design, which that's the Yellow Brick Road company that makes it. So I love their directions. They're very easy to follow. So if you just go step by step, even if you think you can't do it, it's an easy pattern to follow. But I know I added an extra row, but that's the border that was on the... I didn't add the border.
And the white does have a little print on it, too.
Stars.
And,
This is 1930 reproduction.
1930s reproduction, Stars and Stripes for Stars and Strips. I can see that as, I mean, doing all these corners and getting them straight is a challenge. Yeah, I like the border on this. I love that it has that border. So that's by Atkinson Designs. I bought one of their patterns yesterday when we were at the Quilt Corner. And I'm really excited about it. Yeah. Okay.
Should we do the
Yeah,
notebooks?
you did. Yeah, let's do the notebooks. So, did we already show that other one over there?
Oh, no.
Let's show that.
This is another one I did, one of my beginning ones. And it's real soft, too. I must have had thinner batting for this one, and I love using it. And it's a big one.
Yeah. And I always have to look at the design. It's kind of a swirl paisley type design on that one, the quilt design.
Right.
Yeah. Is this Yellow Brick Road too?
Yes, it is.
So you get your money's worth out of Yellow Brick Road.
But if you're starting, if you're a beginner, it's great. And they all look different, you know.
Yeah,
these different fabrics.
I didn't even. I have to really look at it to tell. Okay, let's look. We did floating squares. Did we do big blocks, big style?
Yeah, but this is the book. You can show them this book.
Okay. Big blocks, big style by... Which one was that?
That's the one...
this one. Okay. Let's just show which one that was, because this is a good book. Big Blocks, Big Style by Gudrun Erla. Simple quilts with a Scandinavian flair. Yeah. And that was this quilt here, which we showed you earlier, which Gayle's... It is an easy quilt.
And there's so many bright colors in mine, but I think it'd be pretty.
Yeah.
In
The directions in here are fabulous too. I was glancing at it and I could see that would be good for beginner. So Gayle is super organized. She's very organized.
This was your idea.
That was my idea, but of course she has taken it to a new level, of course, because I told her, I said, since you started quilting, keep a journal of the quilts you make and when you make them and the fabric and everything. And mine is a little sketchy. I mean, I started it late, so I didn't do it right in the beginning. So those early quilts, I don't have good record of it. But I don't do the detail but she had a really good idea. Tell them about the notebook first.
Okay, so the notebook, I purchased at Barnes & Noble, and I love it because I prefer a spiral notebook, so you can open it flat. And this, I don't know if you can see it, it's not spiral, but it opens flat. So when you write in it, I should get a page that has something in it. This is my granddaughter with the I Spy quilt.
So the type of things you tell them, the sort of things that you put in here.
I put like where I purchased the fabric, I put exactly like the designer of the fabric. If somebody asks me if I ever wanted to make it again, I just like to have, and then the pattern where what I got the pattern from, and then I put usually the measurements before, after I make it, I get the measurements, and then after I wash it, I take to see how much
shrunk. Yeah. So you had 10.5%. So she has a percentage, and then the photos.
The photos I just want for my own benefit, so I just print them right off my computer. I don't use photo paper because I don't want my notebook to get too thick, so I just use a regular piece of paper for my little notes.
This is a great tool for any craft. If you are a knitter or you sew your own clothing or anything really.
Right.
I mean, you could take it to any level you want. And some of the things you put in here, like on the I Spy, she has photos of her granddaughter with a quilt and then listing some of the motifs.
Oh no, I list
all of the motifs.
All 126 of them.
So there. So she doesn't repeat anything. And
oh yeah, I don't know if they could see that though, right?
Oh yeah. And then on the I Spy quilt, she also embroiders her grandma name in a place, and then they have to find it. So that's cute. I just love this because you really keep good notes.
Because I can't show them this one. This is a wall hanging that's in my office.
I don't think they'd be able to see it.
It's dark.
Yeah, it's kind of small, but maybe we can do it another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so get a notebook and keep track, whether it's knitting or quilting or needle felting or whatever craft you do. It's a great idea. One thing I've done on mine, but I like your photo idea better, but sometimes I put little snippets of the fabric actually in there. I have little scraps, and I'll just put the selvage that has the name of the fabric in there, but that does make your notebook sort of bulge a little bit, but that's okay. I'm not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just for me, really, from
So
my
before
records.
I forget, and we go on to this next one, can you talk about that app?
Oh, yes. For a phone app, when I first started, one of my nieces told me about, it's called Quilting Calculator by Robert Kaufman. And all you do when you need to know, she's done it so long, she can estimate how much fabric she needs.
Not that well, just a few things, like binding and backing, I can estimate.
I have no clue. So all you do, you can click binding, batting, for whatever, and then you put in the width of the fabric, and then you put in like the width of your border, and then it'll calculate how much fabric you need. And same thing with your backing or any of that. So, and I've seen in some of the quilt shops where the employees will actually use that same app to double check their math on how much to purchase.
Yeah, it's a great thing because I have the spiral bound books that you'll see in a lot of quilt shops that you can figure those things. They have spreadsheet tables in there, but I don't carry that with me to when I'm shopping.
Right.
So this is a way that you can have it close by. And I haven't been quilting that long, really.
Oh, yes, you have.
No, I haven't. I mean, I did a few quilts in the 80s, 2 quilts in the 80s with a piece of cardboard and a very rudimentary instruction sheet. I don't know how I did it. We were talking about that yesterday. I had no clue how I did it. I made 2 quilts in the 80s. I made 2 quilts when I took the classes at Quilt Corner in 2010, and I did not start quilting again until 2015.
Oh.
And I've been quilting solidly since then. So in this era of quilting that I've been really doing a lot, it's really been 3.5 years.
Really?
Yeah. So not that long. I mean, compared to knitting, I've been knitting for 40 something like that, 40 some years. So that is a lot of knitting time. But the thing is, with all the tools available, we're not trying to convince you to quilt, but if you're watching this, you're obviously either a quilter or you're thinking that maybe you'd want to. That the learning curve is a lot less steep in almost any craft now because of all the online tutorials and all of the resources that you have. Do you think you could have done a lot of these without?
No, and also I took several classes at my local quilt shops, and that was very, very helpful. And tutorials. I watch tutorials all the time.
And Craftsy. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So, yeah. What do you think it is about quilting that you like? What is it about it that you can...
It's relaxing. I'm retired, and I just wanted an extra hobby. We have a lot of hobbies, but I wanted an extra one. And so she just kept telling me how fun it was. And like I said, I didn't believe I could do it. And I do know my limits. Like, I've seen her little miniature quilts, and I would never attempt that. Not yet, but eventually I will.
You'd be surprised. I didn't think I would either.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, I love some of the things. Well, and as a little background, her main fiber craft was rug hooking, the traditional rug hooking. And next time you come, we'll have to show some of the rugs that you've done. But you had kind of had some repetitive stress injury from that.
Yes.
And so she couldn't really keep doing that. But quilting doesn't have as much of that repetitive stress movement injury prone thing that you can get with knitting or crochet or needle felting or a lot of the others. So quilting is kind of a good one. And then we both like embroidery also. We've done our share of that. We've been into a lot of things together and then separately as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's a good thing you're keeping a record of this because you've cranked out quite a few. I mean, in 14 months, we didn't even show everything. We didn't show everything, but yeah. So yeah, then your notebook.
Okay, so I have a notebook, and this mainly, I guess they can see it from here. This is a kit that I have purchased. So this is mainly, Paula puts little tabs in all her books that she has, and I also do that. But in this notebook, I keep just general notes. And then there's patterns that, like I got this off the internet for something, this color pop, but things that aren't in a book, I keep in this notebook. Like I'm gonna do the jelly roll race, and so I just have little pockets in here. I have notes. I have just ideas. This was a freebie from Missouri Star that came with one of my orders. And so I just, when I'm thinking of another project, I'll go through my books that I have tabbed, or I'll go through this notebook. And
you have sticky notes in here too to indicate what you would need. Did this one go?
Like this is a sticky note for this jelly roll race, or no, that's on the other page, that I watched a tutorial and wanted to remember when I actually made the quilt.
So then she has tabs here for table runners. And are there any other tabs or just...
I just don't have them marked yet. But just a lot of...
I actually have a notebook too, but I think I could put more in it if I got these pockets. That's the difference.
Right.
These pocket things. I have them. I just haven't spent the time to organize it.
Yeah, because when you have loose patterns,
yeah,
it's hard to remember what you have.
Right.
And
then you have some sticky notes over there, some general things.
Yeah, just like general things. This is another one I'd like to do, the 9-patch fence rail from, and then I have, like, I need a layer cake for that and how much background and how much border. So if I were at a quilt shop and found something that I absolutely loved, I would know what I needed for that. So, yeah, that's my notebook. Okay. Oh, and I just see here, when I told you about the pillowcases, If you put in YouTube burrito, it's also called, Jenny from Missouri Star calls it a tube pillowcase, and I've also heard it as a magic pillowcase, and they're very easy.
Very easy. Good way to just test out a new sewing machine, or just if you haven't practiced any sewing skills. But really, learning to sew a 1/4 inch seam is not,
right.
Yeah, it's not, you can do it. You really can. I think that we're both pretty good examples that
Right.
that you can learn how to do it. So
I've upgraded my sewing machine. It has an automatic needle threader and automatic thread cutter. So my first one was kind of bad, but I made a lot of quilts with it.
It wasn't
so
that
it
bad.
Can be done.
It's actually
I'm just spoiled.
a brother. It's a brother too.
No, it wasn't.
No,
no.
I thought it was.
No.
Okay. I don't know what it was, but anyway, I have the machine I talked about in the last episode, the Brother CS6000i, which is an inexpensive machine, and I may upgrade at some point, but right now the only thing that I don't like is that it has a 5-inch. I said, that's a correction. I think in the last episode, not the special one on the sewing machine, I said that it had a 6-inch throat space, but it's actually 5-inch. So it is pretty small, and it's not that high either. But you know what? I'm not that keen on that part of, I'm not really that keen on doing a huge quilt myself. It's not really my thing. So,
no.
Well, let's see how far we've gone. Oh, it's almost an hour, 52 minutes.
Great.
So I think that, maybe after we go to the quilt show, we might do a separate video on the quilt show and things that we purchased at the shops, just for anybody who's just into quilting and would like to see those things. Maybe we'll take some photos and that sort of thing. We'll see. We'll see how busy we get. We don't want to be rushing around too much, but we're having a good time.
We have projects.
We have a project we're going to do. So yeah.
Several.
So thank you so much for watching. Again, you can find me at knittingpipeline.com, where you will also find show notes. And then I'm on Ravelry as Prairie Piper, and Instagram and YouTube as Knitting Pipeline. And if you have questions for Gayle, just leave them in the comments below, and we'll address any questions in future episodes. I can address them. And yeah, don't you think she should have her own YouTube channel? She could do that, don't you think? Definitely enough information there. So thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.